Good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's take a moment to become present. Find a nice, comfortable seated position where you can sit and have your spine and back of your neck sit nice and tall and long, opening up your chest and opening up your diaphragm and opening up your heart. Gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. Soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is the fifth Yama. The Yamas being the first limb of the 8 limbs of yoga. The fifth Yama, Aparigraha, is Sanskrit for non-attachment, non-possessiveness, non-hoarding. The guideline is simply about letting go. Consider this quote from Deborah Adele, who wrote the book Yamas and Niyamas. A bird cannot hold its perch and fly. Our mind, body, and spirit can become attached to things like possessions, emotions, experiences, and expectations. Like the bird, when we let go of our grasp on these things, we are free to fly. This Yama, Aparigraha, invites us to pack lightly for our journey through life, all the while caring deeply and enjoying fully. So for our pranayama, our breathing technique this morning, I have another quote from Deborah Adele from her book. The simple act of inhaling and exhaling teaches us about the fullness of breathing in life without the need to hold on to it. Let me just repeat that again. The simple act of inhaling and exhaling teaches us about the fullness of breathing in life without the need to hold on to it. So for the breathing technique, we're going to do it's a Vritti. We've done Vishama Vritti. We did another Vritti, which we held our breath at the top or paused at the top of the inhale. This one's called Vishama Vritti, and it emphasizes the act of letting go by increasing the length of our exhale. So to practice this, what we do is the Vishama Vritti, which is the equal length breath, we would inhale for a count of 4 and exhale for a count of 4. In the Vishama Vritti, where we're extending the length of the exhale, we'll extend it by 2 beats. So inhale would be 4 and exhale would be to the count of 6. Or if you find another comfortable number to work with instead of 4, just increase the exhale by 2 beats, 2 counts. So let's just practice that for a moment. So I'll do the count, and then I'm going to stop saying the count, and you just can continue on at your own pace. So inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just continue at your own pace. You may return to your natural breath. For our meditation this morning, I have a mudra that's called Kshepana. And to do Kshepana, you would take your fingers and interlace them, keeping the index fingers pointed upward. And you will hold that at your heart center. And Kshepana helps us to let go that which no longer serves us. So while we do our meditation, if you have your hands in Kshepana, think of an attachment, maybe an emotion, anger, maybe you need to forgive someone. That would be a letting go of support of sorts. But think of an attachment in your life that no longer serves you. And when you inhale, think of that attachment, and then while you exhale, let it go with loving kindness. So inhale, think of that attachment, and let it go on your exhale with loving kindness. We'll just take a few moments to do that. We'll meet you on the mat. We can start our asana practice now. Continue in your nice, comfortable seated position. We'll start with some sun breaths. Bringing our fingertips to the side, we'll just inhale deeply, raising our hands up overhead. Palms can come together, or you can keep them at an angle, like a V shape, if that's more comfortable for you. And then exhaling, bringing them down. And inhale, bring them up. And exhale, lower the fingertips down. Inhale up. And exhale down. Inhale up. And exhale down. Next, we're going to bring our arms to about shoulder height. I'm going to start making very small circles. You can go clockwise with those. And as you keep rolling your arms around, try to keep them nice and loose. And then as we go, we're going to actually increase the size of the circle to the point where we're going to have a nice big circle, looping our arms up and down, up to the sky, down to the mat. Inhaling, exhaling. And then we'll come back down to the mat. Shake our shoulders out a little bit. And then we're going to do counterclockwise, and we're going to start making the circles very large and then end with them being very small. So start with your fingertips brushing along the mat, coming up, overhead, and we're going counterclockwise this time. Inhaling and exhaling as you go. And maybe then just slowly start to close that circle down, making it smaller and smaller. And then you come to the center, and then you can lower your arms down. We're going to take our right leg out and extend it out to the side. Flex our toes up to the sky and pivot our torso so that our chest is center with the knee. And then we're going to gently walk down as far as what's comfortable. Bring yourself to that sweet spot of comfort and relaxation. And maybe you can bring it all the way down to the ankle, all the way to the toes, or just whatever spot is comfortable for you, where that sweet spot is. We just want to slowly stretch out our hamstrings in the back of our thighs. And as you're walking down, you might just inhale, walk, and then exhale, lowering or reaching. Sometimes that technique works a little bit to gain a little distance. And then gently walk your fingertips back up. And then we're going to bring our right foot, just bring your knee up, grab hold of your right foot, and we're going to lay it alongside of us so that our two knees are pointing forward. Our left foot is against our right thigh, and this is the top of deer pose. And we will bring our right hand to our left knee and turn our torso to the left. Deer pose with a twist. And just take some deep breaths here. And then come back to center. Bring your leg back, crossing it over, and then exchange legs so that you have your left leg in front. And we're going to extend that over to the side. Toes are pointing up. Toes are flexed. And then we'll pivot our torso so that our chest is facing over our knee or facing toward our knee. And then gently walk our fingertips down toward our left foot. And then we'll walk them back. And then you can bring your knee up and grab the inside of your left foot and set it down on the mat. So again, your two knees are pointing to the front. This time the right sole of your foot's against your left thigh. And that's deer pose. Nice straight back. And then we're going to extend our left hand to our right knee. Our right fingertips come behind our hip, twisting our torso to the right. The deer pose with a twist. And then we'll come back to center. We come up on our hands and knees to tabletop. Bring your wrist right below your shoulders. Fingertips are all splayed out. Index finger pointing to the top of the mat. Knees are right below your hips. Navel's tucked to your spine, creating a nice flat back. We'll push gently down into our hands, creating the space between our shoulders and our ears. And just check in, make sure your weight is evenly distributed in your hands. And then for cat-cow, we're going to round our back, dropping our head and tailbone down for cat. And then lift our head and tailbone up. Sending our gaze straight ahead for cow. Exhale, round our back for cat. Inhale, send our head and tailbone up, send our gaze straight ahead for cow. Exhale, rounding our back for cat. And inhale for cow. And just continue at your own pace for a few moments, synchronizing your breath with each movement. And then come back to a neutral back to tabletop. We're going to lower our hips toward our ankles as we're going to go into a child's pose, but don't go all the way down yet. We're going to make circles. So we're going to move our hips around into a circle shape. So move them over to the left side, up to the front, move your hips over to the right, and then back toward your ankles. So you're making nice circles clockwise with your hips. And just, again, synchronizing your movements with your breath. So inhaling over to the left, till you reach the top, and then exhaling as you round to the right, and then drop your hips toward your ankles. And then as you come down to almost child's pose, we're going to stop, and then we're going to reverse the direction. So inhaling as you lift over to the right, come up to the center, and exhaling as you round to the left, and come back down toward child's pose. Inhale toward the right, exhale toward the left, and down to child's pose. And then come back to tabletop. Then we're going to kick our left foot out to the left so that it rests outside the mat, and send our right foot down to the bottom of that mat, pointing our toes toward the bottom. Just check in that your wrist is right below your shoulder. We're going to do a modified plank pose, sweeping our hand up toward the sky, following our hand with our eyes if that's comfortable. And once you have your hand up at the top, we're going to do this a lot today. Just kind of twirl it around. You can twirl it clockwise and then counterclockwise. I like the counterclockwise when it was kind of like shush, shush, let go, be off with you. So you can kind of put that little attitude into it if you'd like. Letting go. And then bringing that right hand back down, come back to tabletop. We'll do that on the other side. So kickstand your right foot outside of the mat. Send your left toes down to the bottom of the mat. Right wrist is right below your right shoulder. Then sweep your left hand up toward the sky, following it with your gaze if you'd like. And then we'll twirl our hand around clockwise and counterclockwise. And then bring our left hand back down, come back to tabletop. I'm going to tuck our toes under, walk our hands back, coming into squat position, and then push down in our toes and come up to mountain pose. For our mountain pose, our good posture essentials, we're going to have our big toes facing the straight edge of the mat. Lifting our toes up off the mat, we'll spread them as wide apart as we can. And then bring our toes down into the mat, lifting our heels up off the mat. And then lowering our heels down. Really feel that grounded connection with your mat and to the earth. It's grounding you today. Legs are nice and straight and strong. Knees are softly bent. Navel's to our spine, creating a nice long back of our spine, back of our neck. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Chin is tucked ever slightly toward our chest. Crown of our head reaches to the sky. And I'm going to take a deep inhale, sweeping our hands up overhead. And exhale, bringing our hands down to the mat. As we go, we're going to bend our knees deeply. And then when we land our hands down, we'll just take a moment to check in. See how we are today. If you feel any tension, you can send nourishing breaths to that tension now. Or just remember to do that a little later on if it's needed. Then inhale, lifting our hands up to our shins, flattening out our back. We'll send our hands from our shins all the way up to the top of our thighs. Our elbows are pointing back, kind of like chicken wings, really straightening out that back, lengthening the spine and the back of the neck. And breathing in deeply, you feel that breath coming to your back as well as the front. And then we'll slide our hands all the way down our legs and just let them hang there, bringing the crown of our head down toward the mat. Just take a few deep breaths here. And then sweep our hands from the mat all the way up overhead. Bringing our hands up overhead, we're going to stretch them up to the sky. And as we do, we lift up onto our tippy toes. And just give our body a nice big stretch. And then we're going to lower our heels, lowering our hands back down to the mat. Bending our knees as we go. And bring our hands to our shins and sending our gaze down, lengthening our spine and the back of our neck. Half forward fold. And then dropping the crown of our head down toward the ground, and just letting ourselves hang. And then sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Bring our palms together. And then lower our right hand to our right thigh and slide it down toward our knee, creating a nice crescent shape with our upper body. And inhale, come back up. And then lowering our left hand down to our left thigh and sliding that down toward our knee. Nice crescent shape to the other side. Inhale, come back up. One more time on the right side. Sliding it down toward the knee. Till you find that sweet spot. Just check in with your breath. Make sure it's still nice and flowing evenly. And then come back up. And lowering the left hand, sliding that down toward our knee. And inhale, come back up. Both hands come back down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Inhale, come up to half forward fold, hands on shin. Spine and back of the neck are nice and long. And then sending the crown of our head down toward the mat. We're going to place our left hand in front of our left foot and bend our left knee toward the left arm, keeping our right leg as straight as what's comfortable. I'm going to sweep our right hand all the way up to the sky, following it with our gaze. And once it's up there, we're going to twirl it around a little bit again, clockwise and then counterclockwise. And then bringing that right hand back down to the mat. We'll switch sides. So the right hand goes on the mat. The right knee is bent toward the right arm. Left leg is as straight as what's comfortable. Even if you can get it so it's super straight, just be careful not to lock your knee. And then we're sweeping with our left hand all the way up overhead, following it with our gaze. And once we get the left hand up, we'll twirl it around clockwise and then counterclockwise. And then bring that hand back down. And then sweep both hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And then palms come to the back of the hips. For supported back bend, our feet are going to be about hip width apart. Fingertips are on the back of the hips pointing down. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back, bringing your shoulder blades together or toward each other. Chin is tucked toward your chest. And then you're just going to drop your shoulders back and pay attention to your breath. Just bend as far back as is comfortable, that you are breathing nice and smooth breaths. And then come back up. How's everyone doing? So we're going to sweep our hands all the way up overhead again. Big inhale. And then exhale, bringing our hands down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Forward fold, and then inhale, lifting our hands to our shins, half forward fold. And then bringing our hands down to the mat, both hands on the mat as we extend both feet to the back of the mat, coming into plank pose. We're going to have a lot of plank pose today, so take your time. The idea of plank pose, or the benefit of plank pose, is it builds your core strength, which is right near where your belly button is. So we're going to want to tuck that navel, that belly button, toward the spine during all plank poses. And then we're going to slowly lower, and you can do it one of two ways, either knees, chest, chin, then your knees down, then your chest, and then your chin, or chaturanga. Either one, you keep your elbows tucked toward your side. As you come down, bring your fingertips right below your shoulders. Your chin is touching the mat. I'm going to lift our chin and chest up and lift our hands up off the mat for baby cobra. And then bring our hands back down to the mat, chin back down. And then with our elbows tucked to our side, we're going to lift our chin, our chest, and then gently push into your hands, coming up to regular cobra. And then lowering back down. Chin to the mat. And then we're going to keep our tops of our feet engaged with the mat. I'm going to extend our arms fully, keeping our elbows tucked toward our side for up dog. So just kind of push in, keep up, and our tops of our feet are on the mat. For up dog, again, we're tucking our navel toward the spine. Then bring your knees down to the mat and bring your hips down to child's pose. We'll stretch out here for a moment. And then come back up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under and lift our hips up for downward dog. Downward dog. Our arms are going to be straight. Our fingers are spread wide apart. Index fingers facing to the top of the mat. Chest is reaching toward your thigh to elevate your hips slightly up. And just pedal out here for a moment. we're going to take our right foot, keep our left foot stationary, and take our right foot and reach it up behind us, up toward the sky, three-legged dog. And I'm going to bring it back down. Do not touch the mat. Just keep your knee bent and bring your knee up to your elbow, touching your right elbow with your right knee. And then bring it back to downward dog. Pedal out for a moment. And we'll do that again. So inhale, lifting your right leg up, three-legged dog, bending your knee, bring it all the way to your right elbow. And then back to downward dog and pedal out. And then lift your right leg up again, three-legged dog. And then you're going to bend your knee, bringing your leg all the way through so that you come into runner's lunge. So your right foot's between your hands. Left leg is extended back, left heel pushing to the back of the mat. And then we're going to plant our left hand, sweeping our right hand up to the sky. And do a few twirls with your right hand, clockwise and counterclockwise. Just kind of rotating that wrist, loosening up, and then bringing the right hand back down. We're going to bring our right foot back to runner's lunge, to plank. Sorry. And then hold plank here for a moment. Your navel's tucked to your spine. Most important thing about plank, elevating your hips slightly, so no saggy tummies. And then we're going to lower either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Come down on the mat. And then slide your hands forward, coming into Sphinx pose. Sphinx pose, your elbows are right below your shoulders. Your chest is open and reaching toward the front. Tops of your feet are fully engaged with the mat. So it's an active pose. And then we're going to go into dolphin pose from here. So this is an alternative to plank. If you find that your wrists are getting fatigued, you can do dolphin. Frankly, I think dolphin's pretty hard. So you tuck your toes under, keeping your elbows where they are, right below your shoulders. We're going to lift our tummy up, pushing our heels to the back of the mat. Navel's tucked to the spine. Again, no saggy tummies here either. And this is dolphin pose. Great pose for strengthening your core. We will lower our knees to the mat. Send our hips down to child's pose. And then bring our hips up to tabletop. We're going to do the modified plank pose. So we're going to kick our left foot out to the left outside of our mat, sending our right toes down to the bottom of the mat. Left wrist is right below the right shoulder. Left wrist is right below the left shoulder. And we're going to send our right hand up to the sky. Excuse me, to the sky. And as we do, we'll lift our right leg up as well. So with our right hand in the sky, we'll do a few twirls with it. This is modified plank. And then bring your leg and your hand back down. Come back to tabletop. Extend your feet down to the bottom of the mat, coming into plank pose. And your navel's tucked to the spine. I'm going to lift our right leg up, cross it over our left leg, and then lean into our left arm, sweeping our right hand up to the sky, and do a few twirls here. This is side plank. And bring your right hand back down, back to plank pose. And back down to knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. And then we'll have our hands right below our shoulders, chin on the mat. And lift your chin and chest and hands up for baby cobra. And then back down. And then with our chest and chin lifting up, start to gently push down in your hands, coming up to cobra. And then come back down. And the last one is we're going to go into up dog. So engage your tops of your feet in the mat, pushing down to your hands till your arms are fully extended, lifting your torso up, up dog, navel's tucked to the spine. And then lower your knees to the mat. Bring your hips to the ankles for child's pose. And then come back up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under. We'll walk our hands back, coming into a squat. And then pushing down into our feet, come up to mountain pose. And we'll do that all again on the other side. So I'll do it this way. You can see me better. So take a nice deep inhale, lifting your arms up overhead. And then exhale, bring your hands all the way down to the mat, bending your knees as you go. Inhale, lifting your hands, half forward fold. Hands come to the shins. Back is nice and straight and long. And then bringing our hands down toward the mat. We're going to extend both feet to the back of the mat for plank. Wrists are right below our shoulders. Navel's tucked to the spine. And then knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga down to the mat. Fingertips come right below our shoulders. Chin comes to the mat. We'll lift the chin and chest and hands up off the mat for baby cobra. And then back down. And we'll lift our chin, chest, and then start to gently push down in the hands, coming up to cobra, regular cobra. And then bring down your chest and chin back down to the mat. And then we're going to go into up dog. So we're going to engage our feet into the mat. Elbows are tucked to our side. We're going to push down and extend our arms fully, coming up to up dog. Navel's tucked to the spine. And then bring our knees to the mat. Send our hips to our ankles for child's pose. And then come back up to tabletop. Tuck our toes under, raising our hips up to the sky for downward dog. And just pedal out here for a few breaths. And then we're going to lift our left leg up to the sky for three-legged dog. And then bring that left knee all the way through to our left elbow. And then back to downward dog and pedal out. And then engage your right foot into the mat and lift your left foot up to three-legged dog. And then bring that left knee slowly to your left elbow. And the back to downward dog and pedal out. And then we'll do that one more time, lifting our left leg up and then bending our left knee, engaging our foot so it comes all the way to the top to runner's lunge, foot landing between our hands. And then bringing our right hand down to the mat, lift your left hand up to the sky, do a few twirls with it, counterclockwise, clockwise, just loosening up your wrists. And then bringing it back down to the mat, bring your left foot back, coming back into plank pose. And then we'll lower to the mat, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. And slide our hands out in front of us so that our elbows are right below our shoulders into Sphinx pose. And our chest is reaching toward the front. Tops of our feet are fully engaged in the mat, making it an active pose. And then we'll come up into dolphin pose. So tuck your toes under, keeping your elbows right where they are under your shoulders. You lift our core up, keeping our navel tucked to the spine. And then lowering our knees to the mat, and we'll lower our hips to our ankles for child's pose. And then coming back up to tabletop, we'll do the modified plank pose. And so kick our right foot out to the right side of the mat so that our foot's off the mat, and extend our left toes down to the bottom of the mat. Move up a little bit. And then we're going to sweep our left hand up to the sky, and as we do, we're going to lift our left leg up to the sky. And twirl our hand. And then bring that back down, leg down, hand down. We'll come into plank pose. So back to tabletop, and then extend our feet to the back of the mat, coming into plank pose. Wrists are right below our shoulders. And then we'll raise our left leg up, cross it over the right leg, touch it down on the mat, Lean into our right arm, twist open for side plank, twirling. And then come back down. And let's see. Knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Coming back down to the mat. Fingers are right below your shoulders. Lift your chest and your chin and your hands off the mat for baby cobra. And then bring your chest and chin back down. And then lift the chin, chest, pushing down gently in your hands, coming up to regular cobra. And then back down. And the last one's up dog. So engage at the top of your feet in the mat. Elbows are tucked to your side. Push down in your hands, fully extending your arms, coming up into up dog. And then bring our knees to the mat, our hips to our ankles for child's pose. And then back up to tabletop. Now I'm going to turn around again. So from tabletop, we're going to do thread the needle. And if you happen to have a towel close by to land your shoulder on, that's great. Otherwise, you can bring your shoulder to the mat. So in tabletop position, we're going to sweep our left hand up to the shoulder height, and then sweep it under our torso, bringing our left hand to the other side of the mat, and then lowering our left shoulder down to the mat. Left shoulder comes down, left ear comes down. And you can leave your right hand right where it is, side of your head, or you can bring it to the back of your hips. Or if you like, you can bring it up to the sky, opening up your chest. Maybe do a few twirls up here, loosening up your wrists. Thread the needle is a great pose to loosen up any upper shoulder tension you may have, and doing a lot of planks will cause that for sure. And bring your right hand back down if it's not already. And push down into your right hand, coming back up to tabletop. We'll do that on the other side. So back to tabletop, sweep your right hand up to shoulder height. And then sweep it under your torso, bringing your shoulder, right shoulder and right ear to the mat. And your left hand can stay on the mat beside your face, or on your hip, or up in the air, opening up your chest. Do a few twirls. And bring your hand back down to the mat. Come back up to tabletop. And swing your legs off to the side. Come into a seated position. We'll roll down on our back. So you do either one vertebrae at a time with your knees bent or your knees straight, or tuck your hands underneath and roll back. Express method, your choice. I'm going to try the extended leg and vertebrae method. Oh, that feels nice. Bring your knees up to your chest and give them a nice gentle hug. And rock your knees back and forth to massage your lower back. And we'll take our toes and make nice big circles. So continue the massage on our back, but we'll continue our making of circles today. Lots of circles, lots of planks. And then reverse the direction of your circles. And then bring your feet to the mat. We'll do a few supine on our back, cat-cows, and then we'll end each of those with a bridge pose. So have your feet about hip width apart. Your knees are about hip width apart. Hands come down beside you with the palms facing down to support you. Shoulders are nice and snug in the mat. Just really feel that connection with the mat. And then we'll round our back, making the cat shape, and also kind of making a bowl where our tummy is. And then exhale, or let's see, inhale. Yeah, inhale, making the bowl, and then exhale, we're gonna arch the back slightly for cow, and then inhale for cat, making that nice bowl, tucking your navel to your spine to really lower your lower back to the mat. And then exhale, making the arch so that your lower back's not touching the mat, but you have the tailbone touching the mat. Again, rounding the back. And then arching the back. And then we're going to round the back and stay here for a moment. And we're going to push down into our feet, raising our hips up to the sky, coming into bridge pose. And keep your gaze up toward the sky. Keep your knees hip width apart. Don't let them splay out. And then slowly lower one vertebrae at a time back down to the mat. And we'll do that again. So round your back, creating that bowl. And then exhale, arch the back. Inhale, round. Exhale, arch. Inhale, round. Exhale, arch. And then on this inhale, you're rounding your back and then push down in your feet, come back up to bridge pose. Knees are parallel. And then slowly, one vertebrae at a time, lower back down to the mat. We'll take your knees to your chest, give them a nice hug. And send your arms out at shoulder height, creating a T. We're going to lower our knees to the right side. And then slowly turn your head to the left to look at your left fingertips. And inhale, turn your head back to center. And inhale, lift your legs back to center. And then lower your knees to the left side. And slowly turn your head to the right to look at your right fingertips. And then slowly turn your head back to center. Lift your legs back up to center. And then extend your feet down to the bottom of the mat. Prepare for Shavasana. Your feet go out to the corners. Let them just flop open. Arms are out to the side at an angle, palms up. Take some deep breaths, inhaling, and then on the exhale, just really relax into the mat. Each time you exhale, just check in and see if you can lower even further into the mat. Usually that's around your shoulder blades. We did a lot of arm shoulder technique today, so that might take a little while to make it fully relax. This morning I have a quote by Thich Nhat Hanh. Letting go gives us freedom, and freedom is the only condition for happiness. If in our heart we still cling to anything, anger, anxiety, or possessions, we cannot be free.